We do have one other kind of inequality that we might want to sketch, and that is that kind of inequality that shows us that the variable is between two numbers. So for example, 3 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 7. What would that look like on a number line? Well, again, first I'm going to sketch my number line, and I'm going to make sure that 3 and 7 show up. So, let's see. We have 3 is less than x, so one of my n's is going to be 3, and 3 is not included, right? That's less than, not less than or equal to. So I'm going to put an open dot at 3. My other end is going to be 7. 7 is included, that's less than or equal to. So I'm going to put in a filled dot at 7. And then this inequality says x is between, so I'm going to fill in between, like so. The only difference between this process and what we saw before is that instead of one end, we have 2. Instead of having an arrow going off in our direction, we just fill in between the endpoints. So to sketch a between inequality, first we need to make sure that our numbers appear on the number line in the proper order. What do I mean by in the proper order? I mean 3 has to come before 7. Sometimes we're going to skip writing in some numbers, but make sure that if 3 is less than 7, 3 actually shows up to the left of 7. Then, we make dots at the ends, filled in dots for less than or equal to, or for greater than or equal to, empty dots for less than or greater than. And finally, fill in between the dots. Now, one important thing to remember: we can only write one of these between inequalities when the relationship that our inequalities show between the first number and the last number, in this case 3 is less than 7, we can only write one of these between inequalities when that's true. If that is not true, we can't write one of these between inequalities, and we therefore cannot use this technique. This technique only works if we have a well-formed between inequality. That is, a between inequality that actually makes sense. Otherwise, we need to use more sophisticated techniques.